And then Lebanon became a city in 1957, which, well, you know, I was born in 46, so when I was 10 years old, Lebanon became a city, so that's significantly newer. The city charter was adopted by the state legislature and signed by the governor, and it was Lane Dwinell on July 17th of that year in 57. The charter was set for a referendum, and it was held on October 15th, and by a vote of 1,521 to 806, it passed. The town of Lebanon became the city of Lebanon at that point. The first city council elections were held December 10th of that year, and then the first city council was seated in January 1958. So the place of Lebanon, which sometimes we think about as a place now in our planning and discussions for the comprehensive plan, is very significantly historical. And but the city is relatively new. You know, a concept of 57. That's still not an ancient city. But what exactly is a municipality? The question is, why would anyone want to form a municipality? Normally, you know, I grew up in farm country, lots of farmers. All my uncles, all my family were farm people. And, you know, they really didn't have much interest in government, period. They were very self-sufficient, and they didn't live close together. They lived rather far apart. You know, and so some parts of the United States where you don't live as close together, that whole era of having cities was significantly different than here. And here, because of the, I don't know whether it's probably the geography, the demographics, all those wonderful things that we have in New Hampshire, the issue of when people get closer together, what happens? Well, what happens is there's a conflict between people and their property and the property rights they have and the people rights they have. And there has to be kind of a reconciliation of that. The reconciliation is probably what the urban scholars would say is urbanity. And so when you reach that point, and where that point is interesting, at what time do you establish a town government? What time do you move from a town government to a city? A lot of times it's based on the need to protect your property and yourselves. And what do you need to protect your property and yourselves from? You may have issues of water. You may have issues of wastewater. You may have issues of public safety. You may have fire issues. You may have, issues that you need more law enforcement. Because in a smaller type of unit of government, you don't necessarily need that as much. So in 57, and maybe some of you might know the history of that, they reached a conclusion to go for having a city versus a town. Now, a municipality is strictly a creature of the state. So a municipality doesn't have any independent powers of its own. It is only what the state says it will be. So every state has a different definition of what a municipality will be or not be. In our state of New Hampshire, it is what is called a Dillon's state, a Dillon's rule state, which is a famous court decision. It was a decision made by a judge who ruled that the local city, in our case, Lebanon, is strictly construed to have only those powers that are provided by state law. And even in our charter, which we'll talk about, the charter can't give us more powers than the state provides. So we can't create new laws or new structures by the charter. We can only reflect in the charter what the state law provides. So if there was a reform movement, say, in New Hampshire, that would say, we don't like the way the cities are structured, the action to change that structure would most likely lie with the state legislature. You could change the charter provisions, but the charter provisions could only go so far. because the state legislatures would have to be changed. And there has been changes in other states around the nation where the legislatures will change things. Some will make things like, I'll just show you examples of annexation be a lot easier. So that, and consolidation would be a lot easier. Merger would be a lot easier. So you would find that there would be cities that would be merging, that would be annexing other properties. There was mechanisms for doing that. In New Hampshire, it's very strict. It seems to be the way it's structured is to establish the independence of the city as defined by state law, and not this idea of consolidating these cities. Cities, then, the municipalities, if I wanted to work with another municipality, then I have to have intermunicipal agreement. So I have to enter into, it's like between two equals, an intermunicipal agreement between the city of Lebanon and another city or town. But other than that, we are basically separate and apart from each other, which is an interesting approach. There is regional commissions, there are regional sharings, but the structure of government is really based on the town or city in which you are. In our city, in terms of looking at down closer at our city, when the persons put together the charter, and the charter laid out what is known in the United States as the council manager form of government. And I have been around quite a few cities around the United States, and I'm a member of the International City Managers Association, and I have a lot of friends who are city managers around. And this is one of the strongest charters I've seen in terms of this type of government. Whoever put the charter together put the charter so that it really reflects the theories of having a city council manager form of government. Some other places have hybrids where it's not so clear, but the charter here in our city has made it extremely clear as to what that means. Now, the question is, under the charter, what type of municipality are we and how do we operate? The fundamentals of it are the council as the elected representatives of the people that live here have all the powers of the city vested in the city council as a body. That means that there's 9 of them, and that the 9 council members collectively have all the powers you could place in a city. But they can't exercise those powers individually. So a single council member cannot exercise the powers of the city as an individual council member. The only way those powers are exercised are when the city council get together as a body and they have a quorum. So there's 9 of them, so 5 makes a quorum. So there's some extraordinary measures that require an extraordinary majority for the council to act, but primarily they act generally as a quorum of a body of 9 or 5 make a city decision. And since they have so much power, the question is then what's the role of the manager? And the manager under this situation is the administrative officer of the council. And I, as a manager in that role, report to all 9 council members. So I don't report to the mayor. I don't report to the individual council members. I report to the 9. The 9 selected the city manager. They selected me, and I report to all of them.